Hey guys, what up? Today I got for you guys a Blue Eyes White Dragon deck. Buster Blader Blue Eyes White Dragon deck to be more specific. So the Blue Eyes cards came out to Master Duel yesterday night, or at least today if you're in the West Coast here. Anywho, so the cards came out and they're quite fun to play with. I do have this deck in real life, so I've been playing around with it and just testing it out. So this is like my Master Duel version of the deck. So yeah, I kind of just want to talk about it, so some differences and different ways you can build this deck. Now, the best version of Blue Eyes, I believe, is going to be the Prime Might version, but the Prime Might cards are not in the game yet, so you have a couple of options of playing Blue Eyes. You can play the Peer version of Blue Eyes. You can play Fiendsmith version of Blue Eyes. You can play the Buster Blader version, which is this version, or you can even play the Invoke version of Blue Eyes White Dragon. The Invoke version is probably more budget because it takes less ultra rares to build, I believe, where this version takes a little bit more ultra rares to build. But I can make a video on the um, Invoke version at some other time and kind of walk through that. But this version here is the Buster Blader version. I definitely do find it quite fun to play, especially in the in this environment where everything's sort of a best of one. You really don't really care about side decking. You kind of just try to get your combo out, and your opponent can't really out this combo that well because there's no side decking, right? So unless they're playing main decking cards like Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, Dark Ruler No More, Droplets, things like that, then this combo becomes really hard to out. You can only really out it with maybe like a Regeki or Dark Hole, but you have ways to protect yourself from destruction. Maybe they can out it with like impermanence or something like that, but that's kind of hard anyways because I'll kind of teach you guys on how to play around that impermanence and things, or like evenly matched and things like that. So let's talk about the deck a little bit here, right? So for the copies of our Blue Eyes, we're only playing two. With the new releases of the Blue Eyes cards, you don't really want Blue Eyes in your hand anymore. It used to be the case that everything revolved around having Blue Eyes in your hand, so you can start off your combo, start off your summonings, and just doing that sort of stuff. Nowadays, Blue Eyes is better off in the graveyard. A lot of the cards want Blue Eyes in the graveyard because it checks the name in the graveyard, it checks a couple of things in the graveyard. So you're not encouraged to add Blue Eyes into the hand anymore. You're kind of encouraged to just get to the graveyard as fast as possible. And with the new Link monster and the field spell, you're able to do that one in turn one relatively consistently. So yeah, just two copies of Blue Eyes. I think three is just too much. Three again is gonna break your hand. One is not enough. Not like if they get rid of that one, it gets banished or something, then it makes your deck a lot more worse. So two is good for just redundancy, but at the same time, you're not gonna clog up your hand. So two copies of Blue Eyes. We have three copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is good in the deck because of two things. It's searchable via Sage with Eyes of Blue. It's also a good starter if you have nothing else in your hand. You can always normal summon Effect Veiler, start off your combo that way. Normal summon Effect Veiler, then you can go into Spirits with Eyes of Blue. So that's why three Veilers. Speaking of which, this deck is quite pricey to make. It's about 32 ultra rares or ultra rare points, which I can't really math right now, but I think that's like 900 something, 960 I think, worth of points. So if you don't already have the staples, if you don't already have some of the Blue Eyes cards, this deck may not be worth crafting because I wouldn't consider this deck a top tier deck, but I think it's just a fun like tier 2 deck that if you know what you're doing, you can definitely take this to Masters or beyond. And yeah, I think it's a fun deck, but just be aware that it's not cheap either way. So anyways, next off you have Buster Whelp, which is a another starter, another way to kind of get into your Buster Blader engine. It's your main starter for Buster Blader. So in this particular deck, you normally want to open up with Sage, and then Sage will search out Whelp, and then you can kind of start off your combo there. At the end of this deck tutorial, I'll kind of show you what I did. I've only played one game with the deck, but I sort of messed up during that gameplay, but I'll kind of show you what the deck is capable of, right? And to show you kind of some of the combos to go through. Okay, next off here, you have Dragon Buster. Um, yeah, this card is just good just to lock your opponent out of the extra deck. Another way to kind of disrupt them. And in the best of one format here, a lot of people aren't really playing back row removal, so this card becomes pretty hard to remove. They would have to remove your Buster Blader himself via destruction or something like that, or trying to run it over. But Buster Blader gets pretty big, so hit them running this guy over is nigh impossible, and so they have to kind of rely on different ways of removing him. Mostly like either by banishing or non-destructive removal, like bouncing. That's the only real way to get rid of this guy, and yeah, he's a good boss monster, and I'll talk about how to use him later. Next up, you have 3 Sages, pretty standard, 3 Maiden. This is the new Buster, or sorry, the new Blue Eyes card, and yeah, it really makes the deck pretty good. Makes this card really playable now. Back then, this card was kind of fringe playable because it's still free resources every turn if you just want to summon the Blue Eyes and beat them down with 3,000 attack. But nowadays, there's more spells for you to search off with its secondary effect here, the set 1 spell and trap from your deck. Back then, this was kind of hard to resolve because there wasn't many Blue Eyes specific spell and trap cards. But nowadays, there's a couple more with this with the release of the structure decks, so makes this card more playable. And the cool thing about Maiden is that her effect not only places it from the deck to the field. If you open this card, you can also place it from the hand to the field, or if this card was destroyed, you can place it from the field to the the grave to the field. So yeah, it makes True Light really good, and you only really just need the 1 copy. Now, if it gets Cosmic Cyclone or whatever, it's not a huge deal. If you did lose this card, it usually gets its value. The worst feeling is getting Ghost Ogred. Now that is kind of where it hurts, but other than that, if they remove it some other way, like even with Harpies or whatever, by the time they use Harpies Feather Duster, hopefully you have a board set up and you can just kind of sit on that, and hopefully your monsters have some sort of indestructible abilities. Otherwise, it's gonna suck when this card blows up the board. Moving on, we have 2 Maxis, pretty standard. In real life, I'm playing 2 Nibiru's, but in Master Duel, I'm just playing the 2 Maxis because I think Maxi is just better than Nibiru as a deterrent from summoning a lot of monsters. Unless you're playing against Thunderees or something, and this card sucks. Anyways, next we got Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is good just because good easy disruption for against most decks. Protects yourselves from Maxi and the more charmy cards, so kind of nice anti-hand trap while being a hand trap too. So yeah, just overall solid card. Next off, we have Neo Kaiser Seahorse at 1 here. So the reason why I play 1 copy is I feel like it's not a bad extender, right? You can just if you open this, nothing else, you can normal summon Kaiser and then go into Spirit and start off your combo that way. Kaiser will get you into your Blue Eyes, or can get you into Jet if you needed to. So it's kind of nice in the sense that it's a good starter. If you have this in your opening hand along with Sage of Blue, then this card can be an extender in your hand too. Just because it can special summon itself. I like this card over Master of Eyes, or Master of with Eyes of Blue, but just because it's the ability to just summon itself from the hand, and the ability to dump a card. And then when it's on the board, you can still use it to target Maiden and increase her level by 1, just to special summon more from the graveyard. So still, I think a nice niche card, but at the same time, it's not bad. And some people do play 3 copies of this in their deck. I think the 1 copy is a sweet spot because I think with 3 copies, you might open with him, and then he gets a little cloggy in that sense. So I don't want to like clog my hand because you are playing a couple of additional brick cards like the Buster Blader cards here, so you don't want to completely clog your hand with unplayable cards. So next off, you have the 1 Magna Hut here. So this card, yeah, just overall good in Dragon decks. Not much to say. You can generally summon this card out via using the Seal. So if you use Seal's effect and you summon a dragon, it's usually this guy or the blue eyes jet dragon. So those are your two main targets for seals. Once you summon him, you can grab anything that you need. Usually, you're gonna be grabbing Buster Whelp because it's also a dragon. Assuming that you haven't already used the Buster Blader card or Buster Blader combo, but regardless, it's still giving you a +1, and it's also a nice hand trap against Fiendsmith. Next off, we got two Buster Blader, one of each version. I like one of each version just because they kind of serve different purposes. The regular one, the reason why you play the regular one is because if you have Buster Whelp on the field, you can tribute Buster Whelp to special summon Buster Blader from the hand. Unfortunately, you cannot summon Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordsman, from the hand because Buster Whelp, specifically, if you read this card here, it specifically lists as Buster Blader, the name. So, unfortunately, Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordsman, is not a Buster Blader. It's only a Buster Blader while it's in the field or the graveyard, where obviously Buster Blader is just everywhere. Field, hand, graveyard, it's always a Buster Blader. The only card that doesn't care about the Buster Blader names are cards like Dragon Buster, where it says you can equip a to a Buster Blader monster, or is it, yeah, Buster Blader control. So these names, these cards become Buster Blader. It doesn't say monster, it just says Buster Blader you control. So that means it could be anything that has the Buster Blader name in it. These two cards, where Whelp specifically lists the Buster Blader monster. So something to keep in mind, and that's why we played two, one of each. Some people play two of these, or they just play just the one regular Buster Blader. So it's up to you. I prefer having two, because if you have two in your deck, in this sort of best of one format, you're more likely to be able to pull off your combo, even if you did end up just drawing the one of. There are maybe a few dozen times that maybe you'll end up drawing two copies of Buster Blader in your opening hands, and that will kind of suck, but it's still playable. It's still a winnable hand. Next off, just the one Jet Dragon. Solid, just recursion card. Another solid layer of protection for your board. Keep in mind, it doesn't protect your board from your own effects. So, if your monster's gonna die from Spirit's effect here at the very end, where the card blows up itself, Jet Dragon will unfortunately not be able to protect that. But it will protect it from, Regeki and everything else that your opponent may have. Next off, you have the one bingo machine. This card's definitely optional, but I do like the one copy just because it gives you more different ways of, or at least cards to search with True Light, and it's also technically another version of Wishes of for Eyes of Blue, because I really want to get this card in my hand in my opening hand, even if it has a high chance of getting Ash. Just having this card in your hand will unbrick most hands if it resolves. So this card is technically I want to say a 3.5 wishes for Eyes of Blue, so it's like giving you a fourth copy or a 3.5 version of the card. If this card's in your graveyard for whatever reason, you can set Bingo Machine and maybe gamble to get one of them, one of these to your hand, because you have two from the deck, so you can try to get one of them to your hand there. But if you don't want to play this, you can play other cards like Triple Text Talents, or you can play Pot of Prosperity. Actually, I think Pot of Prosperity is banned in Master Duel, so this card is the next best thing, I would say. And then you have the one new Roars with Eyes of Dragon. This is just kind of like the original Roar, but this brings it from a Blue Eyes from the deck or the grave or the banish, which is kind of nice. And you only really need one, because you oftentimes once you use one, you're not going to really need it again for the rest of the duel. Some people play two. I mean, it's still a nice card to reoccur, but the problem is that it summons the Blue Eyes in defense mode, so it forces you to use the Blue Eyes for synchroing or linking it away. If this allowed you to summon a Blue Eyes in attack mode, I would say it's definitely a lot better, because then you can just use the Blue Eyes as a big removal card. You can just beat over wherever you want, or just attack your opponent's life points directly. But they try to balance it out by making that so that the Blue Eyes is summon defense mode. You can also summon Jet Dragon out with this card if you already control with Blue Eyes on the board, so that's just kind of a neat thing to keep in mind. Then you have the Mausoleum of White. This is the card that makes this deck work. The extra normal summon really helps out this deck and its consistency, and being able to search out this card with basically any level 1 light tuner, because you can convert any level 1 light tuner spellcaster dragon into sages and then into mausoleum. So that's the best part about this deck, is that you're able to just make that easy conversion. And once you have that field spell out on the board, it kind of starts off your engine. It allows you to dump Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard, so it acts as a Dragon Ravine, and then it also acts as a ultimate offering sort of thing. So it's definitely you needed this card nowadays. Back then, it was fringe playable because there wasn't really any benefits to summoning additional time, but or just dumping the Blue Eyes, because you didn't really want to dump Blue Eyes to the graveyard. You wanted to add it to your hand. Nowadays, you just want it in the graveyard. So this card definitely is a really good card to play in Blue Eyes, and definitely a must one of. You could play 2 copies, but I don't like opening up with this card, so I'd rather search it. So just, if you open up with 2 of this kind of sucks. So I think 1 copy is good enough. Next off, you got just 2 Call by the Graves. We are a combo heavy deck, so do want to protect our combo from our opponent's Max C's and their Ash Blossom. So yeah, just 2 Call by the Graves. Not much to say about that. And then the one each of the Destruction Swordsman cards. Their overall is what in the video later I'll explain how the combo with it. So yeah, you need just 1 of each here. And then triple impermanence, yeah, just not much to say about that. Then you have the 1 Majesty of Eyes of Blue. This is the new trap card that basically is like a Burning Lake. You just pop 2 cards on the board and non-targeting. So yeah, just overall good. And if you have Tyrant on the board, you can just keep resetting this card to just keep using it to blow up your opponent's stuff. So pretty cool. Then True Light, not much to say about that. Extra deck wise, yeah, everything here is pretty standard. The only card I could say you can move around are the Azure Eyes. You don't necessarily need this card. I would play Stormlight Dragon, I think is the card. I'm not sure if that was added in. I don't think so. If I'm yeah, or Light Storm Dragon. My mistake. Light Storm. Alright, it's gonna pop Light Sworn, so let me add a T to that. Storm. Yeah, it wasn't added to Master Duel yet, but this is why we're playing this. And card is also nice to protect your Buster Dragon once it tries to blow up itself. So you can protect it. You can also protect the rest of your dragons if you wanted to, but not necessarily needed. You can also play Moonlight Dragon if you wanted. I think that's also another option. So yeah, Moonlight, yeah, you can definitely play this card instead of the Azure Eyes, but I'm just playing Azure Eyes right now. We'll see how that goes. You can also change out Hot Red. Hot Red, there's only 2 ways to summon it in this deck. It's if you get Buster Dragon plus 1 of your level 1 tuners, you can synchro into Hot Red, or if you have Crimson Dragon out on the board, you can target 1 of your level 9s and then convert Crimson Dragon into a Hot Red. So 2 main ways to play it. I haven't really brought it out, but it is an option there. And then you have 2 Spirits. Don't think you need more than 2. I think 2 has been pretty good for me. And then you have the Saki Ass combo here. This is the combo that should never really work, and you do get punished in IRL if you try this combo. If they have Nibiru, they'll just Nibiru you. In Master Duel, maybe they'll try to maxi you, but if you just gotta go for the maxi challenge, may as well go for the maxi challenge, and pray your opponent can't play anything. Because if you get out the Buster Blader combo, then if they didn't draw the out, then they're just done. So you could definitely extend into the into maxi if you wanted to. And then there's 1 Ultimate Spirit Dragon here. Not much to say about it. You bring it out with Spirit Dragon, and yeah. And then 2 Spirits Eyes of Blue. I like 2 just because of the fact that this card technically is late game, because it converts any of your level 1 tuner into a Blue Eyes and a Maiden. So hence why I'm playing 2 copies. You need at least 1 copy to search for a Mausoleum. And then I like 2 copies also because if the first copy gets negated, the next turn you can try to make a second copy and grab the Mausoleum that way. So it's kind of nice to just have 2 copies. I don't think a third would ever come up, but second copy has come up, so I definitely like 2 copies. And then you have Hieratic Seal, and then not much to say about it. I mean, it's just a dragon deck with Hieratic Seals, so good card. And then you have Protector Whelp, and this card is just to dump additional cards that you want from the Buster Blader engine into the graveyard to kind of start off your combo and make your opponent's life miserable. So yeah, let's talk about the actual combo itself. So I'll show you guys a duel that I did. Let me figure out how to do that real quick. I just played 1 game yesterday. I wasn't really playing too much. So let's just use this as our replay, right? And keep in mind, I did mess up the combo a little bit because I wasn't used to Master Duel's control when it was asking me to send certain things to the graveyard. But so right here, I know I was just gonna play, you know, this hand out, right? So I start off with that, search for Maiden, dump the Maiden to grab True Light, sink away into a Spirit, grabs Mausoleum, activate the Mausoleum, target that, dump the Blue Eyes, right? Then use the extra normal summon to summon out Whelp, and to add Prologue. Then you can send Spirit to summon Blue Eyes, which triggers Maiden to summon Maiden. Then I link those away into a Spirit Dragon. So here I activated Sage of Blue with Eyes of Blue. Second effect to target Maiden. It's sitting in my hand kind of dead, so I wanted to convert this card into another Blue Eyes, plus another tuner. So you'll see here, so I target Maiden. Maiden activates, target its another card in the graveyard. I think I just target another Sage, so I bring out Sage with Maiden. Sage brings out Jet Dragon from grave, or from deck, sorry, and then I link those away into another Spirit. Then I sack the Spirit, I go into Ultimate here. I trigger another Spirit to go into Crimson. Target this to convert Crimson into a safer. Activate this card to keep extending, because I knew I could still keep going if I wanted to. So convert a Maxi into another body and into another effect bearer. Now keep in mind I haven't used Spirit. Let me see. Sorry, I haven't used True Light's effect yet because I already had I opened up with the wishes in my hand already, so I haven't used it. So I decided to go into True Light, summon out an additional Blue Eyes, and then obviously equip it to that. Summon out a second Blue Eyes from my deck, and then link those away into a Protector Whelp to dump a Destruction Sword Memory to the graveyard. And then this card protects the cards from destruction. So his turn, he goes, activates this. I kind of preemptively did it. And here's where I messed up. I accidentally dumped 2 Buster Blader because it was the prompt for the card was asking me to dump the Destruction Sword card first. So I think I thought it was asking me to dump a Buster Blader. So I hit the Buster Blader, and then it asked me to actually dump a Buster Blader. So keep in mind when you activate this card, it's gonna ask you to dump the Destruction Sword card first, and then the Buster Blader card, or Buster Blader monster. So keep that in mind. So I messed up there. Doesn't really matter too much because as you can kind of see, I summoned out Buster Dragon. I draw a card off of I think 1 native piece, and then I activate Destruction Memory from the graveyard to fusion summon into the Dragon Buster. Now, if I didn't mess up that part, I would have had Dragon Buster in the graveyard. I would have been able to use Buster Dragon to get out Dragon Buster and equip it to the Buster Blader. So I would have had the full lock, plus the 2 negation right here and the Baylor. So he tries to do his thing. If he summons out Hugin gets no effect because I have that. It's my turn. I just set this for the hell of it. My turn goes. I draw a card. Essentially, the game ends, right? Because I mean, I attacked. I thought I was gonna do piercing, but I think battle gets no piercing. Doesn't matter. It still triggers my Jet Dragon from the graveyard, and my opponent scoops. So yeah, so that's how the deck works. So that's with my opponent having 0 hand traps there. So with 0 hand traps, you can make this board relatively consistently, and it's kind of fun to do so. So hopefully you guys learned something. This deck requires a lot of clicking. That's one thing I don't like about it because you're gonna be going through your extra deck quite a bit. You're gonna be normal summoning quite a bit. But overall, if you're looking for a deck that just does quests on a daily, then this deck is actually really good. Completes your normal summon, completes your special summon, completes all your link and exceed quests. The one thing it doesn't do is destroy cards, so you might not be able to complete that particular quest there. But yeah, overall, fun deck, just kind of expensive to make. So that's basically it, guys. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and check out. Oh, sorry. I'll see you guys next time.